Good evening, and good evening. Yes, everybody is watching PSL right now, right? Everybody is busy watching PSL. Pakistan Super League. Well, it's been a while. I almost like 99.99%. I lost my interest in cricket, so I don't care whoever wins or lost because cricket is now a stupid game. Yeah, you heard me right. It's a stupid game. Most of the time it's a scripted, making us crazy, making the whole nation crazy, especially those Southeast Asian countries people crazy. Of course there is a money in that, no doubt about that, but it's more about it's more sort of a marketing than sports, because cricket is no more a sport. It's more about making money. Well, everything is becoming more and more towards making money. Many professionals have lost their souls and they are more into making money thanks to social media. Anyways, coming back to the point, which is more important, camera or lenses? Actually, I was thinking to write it down, like which is more important, old camera or old lenses, but I knew that most of us don't like old cameras, don't like to do manual focus, so writing old is going to be not that much attractive, so it's more like you have I don't want to write old because this gonna make lose of interest, for many young talent. But I will address that part later, but let's come into the main point, which is more important, camera or lenses. Well, here's the thing, every year you have new car model. I'm coming to that point, Rafi, in a bit. What I was saying, every year you have new car model, which is better aerodynamics, better fuel efficiency, blah blah blah, new headlight, halogen lights, comfortable seats, parking sensors, front and rear, blind spot detection, blah blah blah. So every year you are having new features in a car, but the roads remains the same. What if you have a crappy road and you have Lamborghini and you are driving on a crappy road? So what you will be getting? You cannot speed. Even you will probably you're gonna damage your car suspension. All right. Now let's go to the entirely opposite perspective. You have a very smooth road, but you have Suzuki FX, like 800cc car. So what you gonna do? You have a beautiful road, but you cannot go more than 100 kilometers per hour. So you cannot get the both out from these two examples. But if you have a very smooth road and you have a Lamborghini, of course you can speed up to 350 kilometers per hour easily, just like that. So what's my point? My point is both are important, but that's a general perspective that both are important. But in my view, which I have said multiple times on different photography forums, that camera bodies comes and goes, lenses remains forever. Lenses always remains forever. You buy one lens today, a good one, and you're like, it will last for long. Like if and like I said in the beginning of this video, I was thinking to write which is more important, old camera or old lenses, because I have two examples, very big examples came into my mind, because one guy today asked me about comparison of D600 versus D700 from Nikon. D600 is kind of old, but not that old, considerably new version of the camera of a DSLR in compared to D700, which is 10 years old. So the point is, what if I compare an old DSLR with a new DSLR? So which one is better? Well, this is the point. This is what I want to explain. Like New DSLR are coming with better SNR firmware with more megapixel. More megapixel means you will be sacrificing some noise, you will be sacrificing some dynamic range, which obviously covered by the new updated SNR firmware. But if you have an old DSLR with lower megapixel camera, it means that you will have more room to play with the pixel. You can more easily edit in post, even if you are shooting at high ISO. So for example, if you're shooting with D600 at 6400 ISO and you are shooting with D700 12 megapixel with 6400 ISO, 24 megapixel, 12 megapixel, both are shooting at 6400 ISO, so you have better chances to get noise reduction on 12 megapixel, because those pixel pitch are greater and it gives you more latitude to work in post-production. Lower megapixel gives you more. Old DSLR, all of them were having less megapixel and they were extremely well made. So that's one of the reasons I always endorse the old DSLR. Of course, new are when it comes to performance, like high ISO and those feature like time lapse, like focus stacking, all those are all coming in the new. It saves one hell of a time, when it comes to post production, post processing. I mean, so you don't have to work like you don't have to take like 600, 700 shots and try to make a time lapse using Photoshop. Now using Nikon lenses, you just put the camera on time lapse, get it done right, MP4 file right from the camera. So it makes life so easy. So of course the advantages are there, but at the same time you are sacrificing few things, which I have explained multiple times. Now coming back to the lenses. Now this is the thing. For me, I care more about the lenses than about the camera bodies, because camera bodies is like comes and goes. Every year you have a new model, but how many times you have a new version of a lenses every year? No, you don't. You cannot have. So that's why the new every year you can only see camera bodies, because you are updating the noise, you are updating the megapixel, you are updating the bits and pieces, small pieces of camera, adding Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, touch screen. That's it. That's the maximum you can do with a DSLR. But what about the lenses? Lenses requires like years to overcome their perfection. Making lenses is much more difficult than making DSLR. Designing an optical formula that gives you the 3D rendition, better micro contrast, better color, better color saturation, better corner to corner sharpness, and so many other parameters. So designing the lens is far more difficult, and finding the right optical formula is the key, which you cannot get every single time by every single lens manufacturer. Because like I said, making a camera is much more easy because it's just one camera. It has one functionality that it has to do. That's it, flat. There is nothing you can add and subtract in it. But lenses, they are a totally different thing. Making zoom lenses, adding teleconverters, making fixed aperture lenses, making prime lenses corner to corner sharpness, making zoom lenses corner to corner sharpness across all focal lengths, and at fixed aperture or variable apertures. Like it's crazy. Making lenses are crazy. So the whole idea of this video is, what's more important, the lenses or the camera? It's more about the lenses. But now the biggest question, how do I know which lens is the best? And here is the thing. If you think that sharpness is everything, you are wrong. You are wrong, sir. Sharpness is not the only thing that you have to care about. Sharpness is just one part. One part. There are several other different parameters that you have to take into account, which like lens construction, lens drive. Lens construction means it's plastic mount or metal mount, and lens drive like it's D drive or G drive on its piezoelectric motor or its silent wave motor, stuff like that. Or if it's manual focus, then you have to worry about. Then you have to think about its color saturation, rendition, acutance, contrast. Then you have to worry about corner-to-corner sharpness. Then you have to worry about if it contains the inner element coating to reduce the ghosting and flare. Like all these parameters are there. I mean, there's a whole lot of lenses to learn more, and I always say. But here is the thing that we all need to learn, that lenses are difficult to make, and finding the right recipe to make a perfect lens is just like I don't know how to elaborate this example. Like you hit a jackpot of $10 million. So what are the chances of you to hit a jackpot of $10 million? 1 in million. So finding a right recipe to make a perfect lens is exactly sound like this. Exactly. So like it has to be the optical formula, the lens element construction, the refractive index of the glass element has to be so perfectly tuned that it makes the perfectly optical glass to make the lens. I hope, see, I'm trying to make a point, I'm trying to explain, maybe because, I don't know, maybe some people are able to understand what I'm saying, because this video is not for everybody's interest. They think that, okay, latest is the greatest, which is entirely wrong. Latest is not always the greatest. I am using many old lenses, I am using new lenses, and I have been seeing that even though new lenses are optically corrected, less zero chromatic aberration, and corner to corner sharp, but they are lacking that living, that feeling to have a live image, like that 3D pop or Zeiss pop, or there are famous terms for this 3D rendition, which makes Leica and wide lens lenses famous across the world. If your lens is not having those characteristics, it's useless to have. Even though they are optically corrected, they are optically sharp, but no. The whole idea, get the best lens. Now, how are you going to get the best lens? I suggest to try old lenses, and I want you to try new lenses, and then only by then you will be able to understand, which is hard, really hard, because not everybody has tendency to buy those lenses. Yesterday night I come to know a very surprising thing, which is I can use a medium format lens on my full frame body, even on my crop body. Imagine now I can use I came across an adapter. That adapter was from Pentax 6x7 medium format platform to Nikon F mount. So if it for Nikon F mounted piece that I can use on Nikon full frame and on Nikon crop, so I can have a medium format Pentax lens and I can use it for I can use it on my full frame and crop body. which is interesting, which is really interesting. So it means that I can enjoy the best classes now on my full frame, and of course it's going to be only optical, so like using the focus peaking I can do it, which is interesting. But imagine medium format lens on my crop sensor, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting, and I will try to have a medium format lens on my full frame camera body. I will try, because it will gives you a new horizon to explore, and you will be seeing, you will be enjoying. Of course I won't be enjoying the image quality of a medium format, but I will be enjoying the medium format glass at least. See, medium format is not about the glass, it's about image quality. And image quality, by the way, that word image quality is just not associated with the sensor, it's associated with many different other parameters, and there's like 30 parameters, 20-30 parameters which can change the image quality, which can alter the image quality. So that full frame, sharpness, micro contrast, lenses, camera, sensor type, BSI or normal sensor, like it's a whole long list which defines the image quality. I'm gonna write a blog on it once I get the time, which unfortunately I'm not able to get it. Too much work in office. So yeah, what I was saying about which is more important, camera or lenses. It's okay. See, if you are going to ask this question to a young talent, that young talent is going to tell me, sir, camera is more important. ISO. He won't be looking at the big picture, like if he get a good lens, ISO will be the most secondary thing. If you are shooting a tripod, you will be reducing your noise to a much more acceptable level by lowering down the shutter speed. So buying an expensive, and on top of that you only applying the noise reduction in post-processing. So what's the point of spending like $5,000 or $6,000 on a machine which on where still you're gonna apply noise reduction in post-processing, rather than buy a $2,000 machine and do the same stuff, do the same task, which is applying noise reduction. So which sounds more illogical, buying a $6,000 machine and applying the noise reduction in post-processing, or buy a $2,000 machine and applying non-noise reduction in post-processing? Which one sounds more interesting? I guess you already got this idea. So buying an expensive camera will not solve your issue. This is the point. If you are buying a $6,000 camera and you think that you will be having the perfect image, no sir, you won't. You still need a good lens to get the best out from that camera. Buying a $6,000 machine and shooting at high ISO, those $6,000 machines are made for photojournalists who are trained to take the picture and sending to their editor so they can print it without any Photoshop or without any major retouch. But our friends, they think that buying an expensive machine will not only give the best image quality, but also they still want to apply the noise reduction technique, which sounds stupidity to me. What's the point of buying an expensive machine but still you are applying noise reduction on it? What's the point? Like if you are buying D5 or 1DX Mark II and you are applying noise reduction on the images, seriously? Okay, that sounds more logical if you are buying D600 or 60 Mark II and then apply noise reduction. That sounds more logical, because Those are lower end machine which cannot give you that much ISO, high ISO range. So think about it. I mean, it's try to make a point. Trying to make a point here to help you guys, because buying an expensive camera. If you want to buy expensive camera, I suggest to buy it after 5 years. By the time it will prices reduce, and then by the time new technology come over, and you still can enjoy it. I mean, still can. And this is the point. So it's all about lenses and lenses. I always say, don't buy expensive camera. Buy expensive lens. It will last forever. And choosing the right lens is also a tricky question. Like, there are so many options out there. So which one we need to buy? Like 70 to 200, 24 to 70, 14 to 1424, 2.8, 1635, 2.8. Yeah, sounds logical, because we are mostly covering events. So in events you need autofocus, you need zoom to just quickly, nailing the images. It sounds logical, but again, image quality always comes from prime. Why from prime? Why this industry says that prime always gives you the best image quality? Again, the word image quality comes, which is again subjective. So image quality from prime is all because of one parameter, which is micro contrast. You cannot have micro contrast in zooms, because it's not their characteristic. Micro contrast comes only in prime because of the optical design, and not all primes can give you the best micro contrast. You have to figure out, you have to see the images and learn that why most of the world top lenses, famous lenses, they are not sharp, but they are producing some really quality images. Why? You have to think about it. And sharpness is not everything. So that's all, guys. I said enough about many front. And like I said, this video is not for everybody's interest. I don't like to see or hear talk about theory and cameras and lenses. But if I would be shooting with a lens camera right now with any good model, I can sure lots of people would be watching this video. Like, I don't know, you guys. Typical. Anyways, guys, take care. See you.